Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Land Development Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Glick. And before we jump into today's episode, just wanted to have a quick ask for all of you. If you've been listening to the show for a while and you're getting some value out of it, would appreciate you heading over to your favorite podcasting platform and leaving us a rating and review. That goes a long way in helping the show get more traction with the various algorithms that they have out there. So if you would do that, would really appreciate it. And with that said, let's go ahead and get into today's episode. I am sitting out at the Absolute Group headquarters here in Grimes, Iowa, and joining me today is Sonny Hall. Thanks for joining me, Sonny.
Hey, Ryan. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good, yeah. I feel like I'm out of breath setting up the equipment and everything like that. But no, excited to be out here and talking with you today. I think where I usually start is getting into a little bit of your background, but I think before we go into that, one thing I want to dig into a little bit is hear a little bit more about what Absolute Group does, because I know it started out one way, and it's become so much more than what it started out as many years ago. And so could you share a little bit about what Absolute Group does and how the organization is structured and everything?
Yeah. Do you want me to? Yeah. So, we started 25 years ago, 1999, with three of us doing concrete sidewalks, driveways, things like that. And we naturally grew that business over few years, and then got into the soil erosion business through a friend of ours. 08 hit, housing market crashed, and businesses structures changed, and people were looking for avenues to get through it. So we helped a friend out, got into soil erosion, kept growing. By then we were about 100, 125 employees. And then 2014, we sold it to our employees. We became 100% ESOP. That was really a game changer for us, because after that acquisition, I'd call it an acquisition because we sold it to our employees. And then other business owners started coming to us saying, "What are you doing? What is an ESOP? Why would you do that?" And after explaining that to other business owners and a lot of people that I knew in the industry, built great businesses, were looking for ways to exit the business at some point, but wanted to take care of their employees. So then we went through, I think, 5 acquisitions. We acquired 5 different companies since 2014. So we're in concrete paving, we're in soil erosion, we're in dirt and pipe, we're in foundations, residential foundations. So we have a pretty wide array of lines of work that we do.
Yeah.
And then naturally, when we're bringing those employees on, with that growth, I think last year we were a little over 400 employees. So we do a lot of business. Most of it's local. We do travel statewide. We get out of the state just a little bit for a few different customers that ask us to get into Minnesota or Dakotas or Illinois. But for the most part, we stay mainly in Iowa. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I see your trucks all over the place. So you have a lot of projects and everything going on. And I was going to ask you on the ESOP side of things, what was the big driver behind that? I mean, obviously you have this conversation with other business owners who are curious about, why you went that path and everything. But what was your driver behind switching the company over to that direction?
It was really threefold. We had at that time 4 owners, all of us about the same age. I was a majority owner at that time, but I was also not going to be the last one sitting at the table. So when those other partners were looking at the fact that when they got to be 55 or 60 years old, if I wanted to leave, then they were going to have to loan up the money, have to borrow money, go further in debt at that age. Most people don't want to do that. So we were looking for an extra strategy for the 4 of us. Was one of the 3, and then we had so many good employees that were friends. I mean, like family. And we sit back and we watched the 401ks and the retirement plans in 08, 09, 2010 and what it was doing. And I watched what was happening to people in their 60s at that time that was quite honestly freaking out. because they wake up one day and their retirement plan's half of what they thought it was going to be, and they're at 65 years old, and what am I going to do? So I was worried about that my family, my employees, my people that have been with me for years. I wanted to make sure we could create an environment where they'll be able to retire. And the ESOP, with the way the shares get divided out between all the employees and all the studying we did, I'm like, that's the best opportunity for them to be able to retire someday. So that, we still do the 401k, we do all that stuff, but now they have the ESOP on top of that, and it's, quite honestly, it's probably going to be 10 times what the 401k's performance is doing, just because everyone's bought in, right?
Yep.
I mean, once you're a shareholder and once you've been here long enough, 5 years, you're totally invested into it. It's really changed dynamics for our people. We don't lose anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in the construction industry, which you hear all the time, is how are you gonna replace this workforce, and how's that gonna work? And now that we've been 10 years, I mean, we're approaching 10 years. 2014 is when we started it. I mean, our people that have been with us for 5 years or more, they don't leave. And why should they? They got ESOPs that are worth $200,000-$300,000, and they're just getting started. I mean, some of these people are in their 20s, some of them are in their lower 30s. And if they're in this ESOP for 20, 25 years, I mean, they're going to be millionaires. So, I was asked by a bunch of my close friends, employees, when we did it, why are you doing this? I'm like, well, we're going to create 40 millionaires. That was the plan. And we're going to go way past that. So that, to me, is the best feeling you can have, right? I mean, my worry was, we spent 35 years building a construction business, and I've had guys that were with me that were my brothers, and I retire, and I'm doing well, and then I'm at the local bait shop buying my lures, and I got an employee that been with me 40 years working at the counter because he couldn't retire, and I thought, I couldn't do it. I couldn't look that person in the eye knowing that I got out and I'm doing fine, my family's doing fine, and they're still struggling. So that was, that was a big part of it.
Yeah.
And then the workforce. I mean, like I said, we're gaining workforce. We don't lose workforce. We have a lot of people that are starting to understand what an ESOP means. They're talking to their friends, and all of a sudden they want to be part of it. So it's been a huge momentum swing for us since 2014. So best thing we ever did.
No, it's awesome. I love that, and I love the approach to it, and it makes logical sense. I mean, when you have team members in the company who their output and their outcomes of the the work that they're putting in is resulting in the bottom line, and the bottom line comes back to them through these through the shares that they hold in the company. It gives people that purpose of knowing how they contribute to the bottom line and the value of them putting in that work. Because you see in a lot of companies, people get lost. I mean, they're there punching the clock, and they're just they're in and out, and then they're off looking for the next thing because they're not they don't feel like they have that purpose.
They don't have a purpose.
Yeah.
They have no fulfillment. They just go home and they get on their phones, and they get and they fall into that zombie mode, and then they wake up and they're 57 years old, and they think, oh boy, what am I going to do now? So our employees aren't in that rat race.
Yeah.
I call it.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, there's still plenty of challenges, but it gives them, at the end of the day, I mean, in the line of work that we do, we ask people to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and work 16-hour days some days. I mean, these guys are grinders. I mean, and ladies, we have women too, but they grind. And what happens when you're out there in the field, you're thinking, boy, I'm grinding a lot harder than this guy is. Or this guy's I'm doing more than him, or he's doing more than me, whatever. And what we're starting to make people realize is that we're all grinding. Some days you're going to go harder this week, Ryan, than I'm going. Yep. But next week I'm going to pick you up, and you're going to be off a little bit less than me. It's just, it's a culture. It's been a culture change.
Yeah.
And we live by it. So so far so good. It's working pretty well.
Yeah. Well, I love it. What's it? So you have this new building here.
Yep.
And I think this is, I might not be right in this, but is this the first time you've had like all of your companies under one roof?
Yeah. For at least 10 years.
Okay.
I mean, we were under one roof, and then when we started our solar erosion business, we had a second building. But during acquisitions, we were buying facilities at the same time as we were buying companies. So at one point we had 5 different locations, people spread across, and we were just losing the family feel, the camaraderie, the togetherness. So yeah, we decided in the beginning of 2022 we were going to build one shop and bring everybody together. It's worked pretty well. I mean, we've had some challenges because being separated, there was some benefit that, you don't get pulled into too many different directions. Everybody was kind of in their lane doing their work, and now you bring it together. But we're working through that.
Yeah.
And it's working really well, and it's nice to be all together, and makes communication a lot easier. Number one thing that we have heard for 25 years in business is there's not enough communication. That's what it always is.
Yeah.
We never know what's going on. Well, now that they're all here, right? Most of them, I should say most of them. We do have another shop still sitting up Slater.
Okay.
And we have a foundation company that runs out of there. So we have about 100 employees up there.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, we make a big push to make sure that everybody's together and everybody kind of feels the same gratitude that comes along with being an ESOP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Do you ever, when you did, when the building was finished and I'm sure you've had this happen along the way, but when the building was finished, you ever just, reflect on kind of where you started and look at, just stand there and just look at the building and just think about all that is being done from this location, and even the location up in Slater and everything, and reflect on that and think, wow.
Yeah. I've had a lot of those wow moments. When we started, there was no plan to be 400 employees doing $100 million worth of work. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I told you that I could see it. Quite frankly, we wanted to have purpose. I mean, we were 25 years old when we started it, and we were lost in the rat race and took a leap of faith, went out there, started building things, and along the way, we were fortunate enough to have some people come along with us and felt the same way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great. Yeah, it's many times I've thought, boy, we've come a long ways from a rented shop that didn't have heat, to a facility like this and on 17 acres with 10 mechanics working full time on equipment, and it's there's a lot of wow moments.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how we got here. Here we are.
Yeah, I bet. And as I thinking about the from the beginning up to where you're at now, knowing like you said, you got a long ways to go. You still got a lot of goals that you're going to be hitting and everything like that. But thinking back of all the things you've seen along the way, what's something that just is drastically different, back from when you started to where you're at today? I mean, whether it's with the business or just the industry in general, some things that you're just like, wow, it's just so different than it was back then.
Well, a lot of things are different. I mean, life in general is the biggest driving factor, I think. When we started, things were more simple. I mean, and now everything's so complicated, with you name it. I mean, city regulations, federal regulations. I mean, it's there's just a lot of turmoil that we fight through,
Yep.
And it's more complex. I mean, we're in the people game, everyone thinks, we're in construction. We're really not. We're in the people game. We have 400 people that we're trying to help grow and develop, and the struggles they have from inflation and taxes and you name it, home prices. Everything's tougher,
Yeah.
Everything in life is tougher right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that changes, to be honest. So what we do is we talk about it. We talk about it a lot, and we try to make people understand that, we got to make life a little bit more simple.
Yeah.
And not get caught up in this technology and these phones and it's just sometimes I think technology is the worst thing that's happened to us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the best in most cases, and then it's the worst.
Yep.
So that's the biggest difference in the 25 years is the challenges that people face every day. You know, it's in their face every day. And
Yep.
it just seems like it's hard for people to be happy, you know? I mean, it's just lots of struggle out there, and it's lots of different things that draw on their time.
Yeah.
And when that's drawing on their time, then they bring it to work, and, you know. So we spend a lot of time on trying to coach that up and make people understand that, you know, control what you can control and leave the outside influences alone. Things that you can't control, don't worry about it. Quit spending your time wasting on it. So, but it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard for me.
Yeah. I think social media is one of those things. And I know there's irony in this because obviously we're recording something that's going to go on social media. But, I mean, the reality of it is, you know, that there's good and there's bad. And sometimes, I lean on the side of sometimes the bad feels like it's worse than the good is good. And, like, you know, you've got social media where it's kind of a comparison game on social media is what ends up happening.
Yep.
You know, people are comparing their life to other people's lives, and the lives people portray on social media don't show the struggles. You know, they don't show the bad things. It's kind of the you know, the perfect life that's being put out there. So yeah, I can see when you have 400 people working for you and they're seeing all that stuff in their, you know, day-to-day life, and they're coming to work. I mean, a lot of that stuff is going to be eaten away at them. And not even to mention all the other stuff going on in this, you know, in this world right now that, you know, definitely probably have people worried about, you know, where things are going to end up and stuff. So yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense, and it's not something for me who I don't have a big team like that. So when I'm hearing you talk about that with, you know, 400 people, that, you know, yeah, you've got to think about those things for them and work through some of that stuff with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a challenge.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest difference. I mean, the work's the work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still the same as what we were doing 25 years ago. I mean, we're still doing, you know, the work's the work, but it's the people and the things that they're going through that's been the biggest challenge to learn, you know, and it took us a while.
Yeah.
I mean, we're like, hey, just come to work and do your job.
Yep.
Well, it's not that easy, right? I mean, if it was that easy, everybody'd be doing it, right? So what we're trying to do is really coach them through life, right? It's not, hey, this is how you pour this sidewalk, and that's how you pave this road. That's the easy part. It's how you deal with your family and the struggles that they're going through and all that stuff, and being there for them, and helping them grow. So
yeah. So what's kept you going all these years? Kept you coming back?
Yeah, I love our people. I really do. I mean, we wouldn't have grown if it wasn't for the love of the people that was standing right beside you. You know, as we were going, we just wanted to, really, it was simple. We were 25 years old. We wanted to work outside and feel like we accomplished something every single day. And then all of a sudden, your best friend that's standing beside you is like, hey, you know, she wants to get married. And we're talking through that, right? And then all of a sudden we have members and employees getting married, and now they're having kids. And now they need more money, right? Because it takes more money. Well, now we got to grow. So from a business standpoint, we grew because the people around us in our company needed it to grow. And I love that. I would say, all right, let's add another 10 people.
Yeah.
Let's add another truck. Let's add another business. Let's add this. And let's make room for you to grow and you know, get more, right? You need more. You need more money. You need more purpose. You need a reason to get out of bed. All right, let's do this.
Yeah.
And then training them how to train the people beside them, you know, because everyone thinks it's easy, but it's not. I mean, it was a hard thing for me to realize that when you get to a certain point, you got to be able to look back and help, right? You got to be able to train. You got to be able to think about things in different aspects of people's lives and be there for them.
Yeah.
And then you got to train them to train the person beside them.
Right.
Which is hard.
Yeah.
Right? People want to get up there and they want to be at a certain level, but they really don't want to talk to other people and they don't want to coach somebody else. Well, guess what? You were coached to get here. Now turn around and you got to coach these 5 people. And there's just certain ways you got to do it, right? That's the hardest thing. It's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Is learning to turn around and coach the person beside you and help them and then teach them how to be a coach.
Yeah.
So
it's like building those leaders within the company.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why we're in the people business.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it makes sense.
Yeah. If you can do that, then business is easy.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get the right people in the right seats, boy, it runs.
Yep.
It's just training up the people and then training them to get to the next level so then they can train the people behind them. So,
yeah. So how's your role evolved over the years?
Well, it started as the entrepreneur side of me, right? Let's build business. Let's spend time with customers and let's build it up. And then it's turned into, I deal with a lot of the everyday issues of running it's a pretty good sized business, So it's changed a lot. And there's many days that I wish I could go back because I really like the people aspect of it. And there's weeks I get caught in meetings, paperwork, things about future, 5-year, 10-year, where we go on. And, that's stressful.
Yeah.
Because, you're leading an organization that needs to make sure that we are taking care of 400 plus employees and a path forward is the right one with everything that changes in the world. So what I've learned in the last few years is I cannot let the outside world influence me in a negative way. And it's really easy to get there.
Yeah.
It's really fast because there's just so much negativity that's out there.
Yep.
It's hard for anyone not to pull you down in the mud. And when I get in the mud, then I turn around and I realize, oh, shoot, we got 35 people in the mud. And now everyone's in a negative thought process right now. And we need to get some positivity going and we need to push that through our organization. So that was probably been the hardest part of this transition for me, to realize that what I say and how I react day to day influences our business. So,
yeah.
Because, Ryan, I'm just a small town Brooklyn boy, farm boy that didn't even make it through college, right? I don't know how to lead anything. I don't know how to run a business. I've just figured it out for the last 25 years,
Yeah.
So that reality slaps you in the face a lot. I've had many mentors and many coaches along the way, saying, what was your purpose? I probably should have been a truck driver, right? I should have been in a dump truck just running a truck. Here I am.
Yeah.
So it's taken a lot of, I spent a lot of time on personal growth. I try to read quite a bit. I try to surround myself with good, smart, intelligent people, and I listen.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty good listener, and I'm pretty vulnerable. I like to look in the mirror and say, all right, I don't have all the answers. Trust in the people around you.
Yeah.
That know, or take pieces from this person or pieces from that person and put it together. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I love it. And it's, I love hearing it too, because, I'm on my own journey. And so I love hearing people who have, come before me and have gone through a lot of that journey and everything. So it's, it's a cool story to hear and a very good perspective to hear as well of some of the things that, some of which I've, experienced, some of the things I, are coming. They're going to be there in my journey. Yeah. So no, I really love hearing that perspective
and love the process. I know in your stage or your business right now, there's days that you got to think, boy, this is a grind. What am I doing this for?
Oh yeah.
Right. And that's normal.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it and embrace it.
Yep.
So, because this is the fun part.
Mm-hmm.
This first stage of a business is really, really fun.
Yep.
Once you get through it, you're gonna wish someday, man, I had some good times back there in the weeds.
Yep.
Grinding through it, crossing every T, dotting every I.
Yeah.
Because the day will get where you're big enough where you're like, wait, who made that decision?
Right.
I used to make all those decisions.
Yeah.
Who made that decision? And then you got to support them.
Yep.
All right, I get it. Let's move forward.
Yep.
So.
No, it makes a lot of sense. Like shifting gears here really quick before we wrap up. One of the areas that I'm not sure when you got into it, but on the land development side, was that another business, like acquisition business that you did at a certain point? And just curious what kind of led you down the path on the land development side?
Yeah, it was another acquisition. Good friend of mine that we've known for 20 years, looking for an exit strategy. Actually bought the business in March of 2020, at the beginning of the biggest pandemic in the United States history.
Yep.
I remember being on spring break. I had twins that were on their senior trip in Jamaica. Every day watching the news, are they going to shut the country down, or are we going to get home? Getting home that Friday night, whole country shut down. We come home, we buy this land development business the Monday morning, and everybody was like, do not do this. Do not close on this. Do not start down this road. And I'm like, no, the numbers work. We're going to continue down this road. So we bought the business, and then, well,
Yep.
I mean, the housing market took off, lot development stuff. I mean, they were selling lots, selling homes as fast as they could. And we sold 350 lots in a matter of 12 months.
Yeah.
I mean, all the inventory that we bought was pretty much gone within the first year. So turned out, I've always had a saying, it's better to be lucky than good, right? So
Yeah.
we got pretty lucky. And then it makes sense for us because we do a lot of those things when it comes to land development. We can do we're small in dirt, so we'll a lot of times have a dirt contractor, a big dirt contractor help us as a sub. But we'll put our pipe in, we'll do the paving, we'll do the soil erosion, we'll do the seeding, things like that. So we can do a lot of it in-house. So to us, it was always kind of a mechanism of feeding our people. We don't do a lot in land development. Well, we might have one or two going a year, but it's still something to feed to the group,
Yeah.
keep guys busy. And, but man, it's been one of the hardest divisions we have. I mean, the rules and regulations on land development are through the roof. I mean, it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many times I'm like, you know what, we're out of this game. We have pieces of dirt that we waiting almost 2 years on, and we can't get through wetland delineation and city code, just city requirements to even get it to the point where we can actually put pipe in the ground and start development. I mean, and that all costs money.
Yep.
It's
a common thing. It's a common thing we hear.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to talk about affordable housing, but no one wants to talk about all the red tape that causes houses to be too high.
Right.
I mean, it's through the roof.
Yeah.
So they all want to talk about it. None of them want to do anything about it.
Yeah.
But the regulations and rules, they're so crazy and drives prices up. I mean, if you're starting to add $1,000 or $2,000 per lot, and then you got all the regulations on the home builder, I don't know how many thousands of dollars it costs home buyers.
Right.
But it would scare them to know how many hundreds. I mean, I don't know how many $40,000-$50,000 per house on a single family home.
Yeah.
And just regulation costs.
It adds up.
It adds up.
Yeah.
And then they want to know why, we can't get the affordable housing down. Well, you got to look at the politicians, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the last thing here to touch on, thinking back, I know you are involved in a lot of different things. So I guess you have your pick on what type of project you want to maybe talk about. But is there a project that stands out in your mind of maybe it's one that was the most challenging, or one that just you always think about back in the day, regardless of what type of project it is? I'm just curious to hear about that.
So not just land development.
It doesn't have to be just land development. It could be any project.
Yeah, the biggest one that we've ever done was a Sterilite facility over in Downport. It was a $30 million concrete job, and we had to do it in 12 months. So that was in 2017 and 18, and I remember getting the contract, getting the men over there. Probably had about 20 guys to get started, and getting a call saying, hey, I had two of my top leaders call me and said, I'm quitting. There's no way I'm dealing with this guy, which meant the general contractor. And I remember, all three of my kids were in high school sports, and I remember going home to my wife saying, I'm packing my bag, I'm moving to Downport. And I moved to Downport for almost 6 months. And to get that project on track, I knew it was a game changer for us. But nowadays, it's pretty hard for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My wife since then's like, hey, that's the last time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she smarted me through it, and she understood that it was a turning point for our business. And it was a 100,000 cubic yard job, and we did it in 12 months. We had 75 men over there rocking and rolling 2 shifts, 24 hours a day. So,
wow.
Yeah, that was one of those jobs. So, but we've had so many, land development issues big jobs where you got to fight through it with Army Corps engineers, and I mean, just people that have ultimate say if you can do your job or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's just frustrating for me, for businesses, for land developers.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of people that are getting out of the game because of it. Because all they want to do is go to work, and as regulators, and they won't allow it, and make up different rules as you go, and it's just it's frustrating.
Yeah.
And the worry is someday we won't have a small land development guy left. It's all going to be major corporations that are doing it because they have stacks of lawyers getting through all that legal paper.
Right.
Where the rest of us are like, well, we're just out. I mean, so yeah, Sterilite was a big one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trestle Ridge land development in Ankeny, that's been a real nice one. I mean,
Okay.
we got I think it's almost 300 homes over there that are built up now. We did all the lots on it, so. And we got a second phase going in, so we'll have another 200 some lots going in Ankeny, and if we can get through Army Corps engineer regulations.
Yeah.
It's been 24 months, and
the red tape.
It's unbelievable. So,
well, I appreciate you sitting down with me.
Yeah.
And I think what's the best way for people to reach out to you if they're listening in and they want to reach out, whether it's just a personal thing, they're just curious about something, or it's more of an absolute group thing. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
My email is probably the best way to get in touch
Okay.
with me.
Okay.
So, or our website, Absolute Group. It's ag-iowa.com. So, and my email and contact information is on our website. So
Perfect.
yeah, and if there's anything I can ever do, I'm here.
Yeah,
You
well, that's
know?
great. That's
Yeah.
great. Well, thank you all for listening into this episode. And like I said at the beginning, if you wouldn't mind taking a couple minutes to leave us a rating and review, whether it's on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, we would really appreciate it. All right, well, that's all for this episode. We'll talk to you next time.